This video will explain the steps we take in my classroom to write a 4th grade expository essay. Expository means explaining with examples. It's not a story, it's not a personal narrative about something that happened in your life. It is a non-fiction piece of writing that explains a topic. Now there are quite a few steps that you have to follow, 13 technically, but most of them are very easy. You don't really have to remember them in order like this. First of all, you're going to read and make sure you understand the writing prompt. Make sure you understand what you're being asked to write about. If you get that wrong, then all your hard work is for nothing because you're not writing what you've been asked to do. Then you brainstorm using a circle map to put down all your ideas. You're going to pick broad but distinct main ideas that you can say a lot about and that they are different than one another, so you're not repeating yourself. We use something called the Expository Pillar to plan our writing. You start with your main idea statements, then you fill in the details, then we write a brief introduction, a brief conclusion, and something called the golden star that adds a little sparkle to our writing. Finally, we revise and edit, and they can be done in the same step. They don't have to be done separately. And then you publish, and you make sure you do a final read through before you claim to be done, just in case there are any little mistakes that you didn't catch the first time. So let's have a look at the prompt. A Texas 4th grade STAR prompt is going to look something like this, but it won't be in my handwriting. It will be typed neatly. It will tell the children to read the information in the box below, and then it will provide some information on the topic they're writing about. Doing well in school is important, but it can be hard work. It is important to know what your parents and school expect from you to be successful. Then it asks you to think about the things you do to be successful in the classroom and at school. So the student should have read this and then take a second after the think prompt and actually think, get their thoughts in order. Next, it says write. This is the prompt. Write about what it takes to be a successful student. Explain what things a child can do to be successful in school. We always read the prompt at least 2 times. Write about what it takes to be a successful student. Explain what things a child can do to be successful in school. Then there will be instructions that remind the child to have a central idea, organize their writing, have correct spelling, and so on and so forth. So with the prompt, we break it down into what has been given to us, what must we write, and what variables are there, what choices can each student make. So we must write about what it takes to be a successful student. The essay is about being a successful student. We must explain what things can be done to be successful in school. Now, the choices that the person can make is they can choose whatever those things are. So every child will be writing on the same topic, but each child can choose the instructions for how to be successful. So our next step is to make a circle map. I've already done one to save time. A circle map simply has the topic in the middle, followed by all your thoughts. We call it a brain dump. You just dump all your thoughts into the circle map. So I have ideas like ask questions, be friendly, be organized, attend school, pay attention, so on and so forth. I'm going to pick for this essay 2 main ideas that I want to expand upon that are very different from one another so I don't repeat, and they're broad enough to write a lot. And that is being organized and doing some studying at home. So even though the prompt asks me how I can be successful in school, that doesn't mean in the building. What I do at home actually affects what happens in school. So I have to make sure that my main ideas match the prompt. Next thing I do, I'm going to draw my expository pillar. The expository pillar is very easy to draw. It looks like a huge capital I. Takes the width of the page with quite a skinny box on the top and a skinny box on the bottom. and then the middle is connected all the way until I have essentially a really large capital I. I'm going to use the top box for my introduction, the bottom box for my conclusion. They're small because they do not have to be large. And then the large part, the main part of my body in the middle. First thing I do is I set out some room for my two main ideas. So I'm going to have one here, and halfway down here's my other one. And I start by writing main idea statements. From my circle map, I chose organization and studying at home. So that's what these two sections will be. So this first one will be everything I write here will be about organization. Everything I write here will be about studying at home. Those are my blurbs. These things on the side, they help remind me. So to save us time, I've actually pre-filled out an expository pillar with these. So again, this is organization. Everything here is about organization. And everything here is about studying at home. So in red, I have my main idea statements. It is clear that a successful student must remain organized. Another thing a student can do to have a successful year is to study at home. These briefly introduce the topic. They don't give too much information. They just briefly introduce the topic. Now here in purple, I have my details. This is the next step, to fill in the details. The detail should actually really explain to the reader, as if the reader has never understood what it means to be organized or what it means to study at home. We think of our reader as someone who has no idea what you're talking about. So we make sure we explain in detail. And we always answer two questions with our details. What does it look like? Why is it important? WDILL, WIII. So let me give you an example. The daily homework log should be checked each night to make sure you aren't forgetting anything. This way, all your work gets done and you don't get in trouble. So what does it look like? It looks like checking it each night. Why is that important? You make sure your work is done, you don't get in trouble. Your binder should be kept neat and tidy so you can find things. You can use color coding to make it easy. Red for reading, blue for math, and so on. What does it look like? It looks like color coding, red for reading, blue for math, and so on. It's neat and tidy. Why is that important? Helps you find things, and so on. So with 3 or 4 details, or even 2 is fine if they're longer like this, then you have filled out the details of your essay as long as they support the main idea. Next thing we're going to do is write an introduction and a conclusion. Introduction should have a topic sentence so your reader knows what's coming, and it should also grab the reader's attention. You might do this by asking a question, by painting a mental picture, different ways you can do that. So for this one, I'm going to paint a mental picture. So I think, what does it look like to be a successful student if I imagined it? So I'm going to say, winning awards, and you'll notice this is a draft. This is not my best handwriting. It's okay to go outside of the lines, not a big deal. Winning awards, receiving praise, and what else does it look like to be a successful student? I think, oh, okay, you might win awards, you might get praise, oh, you'll get good grades, and getting good grades. That's a nice list. It's not a complete sentence, but it's a good list to get started. All these things come when you are, and I want to make sure I include some details about my main ideas. So you are an organized student who studies at home. You are an organized student who studies at home. This lets your reader have a little preview about what's going to come. It's your topic sentence. And then here's your introduction, main idea, details, main idea, details. Then the conclusion, we want to wrap it up. A nice way to do this is to connect to your feelings or to your emotions. When I think of what it takes to be successful in school. Just reminding my reader what the prompt was. I feel like it will be hard work. Let's leave it on a positive note. But, no comma there, but worth it. Okay, just wraps it up, summarizes a little bit the intention of the essay. The next step is to add the golden star. The golden star is something that makes your writing sparkle a little bit. It might be an anecdote, it might be a statistic, a fact, something true and interesting. If you tell an anecdote, it must be very quick, in and out. I'm going to do an anecdote that I would like to include. This means you not only do your homework, but you go online to practice your skills. This is important because it helps you master your lessons. iStation or Think Through Math are good. Right here, I'm going to do a star because I don't have room to fill it in here. And I'll just squeeze my notes over here. I know when I publish and I get here, I need to write this. When I did iStation at home for a week, my scores increased. Very brief little anecdote that supports the point. It supports the point that if you study at home and you do some iStation at home, some computer work at home, it can help you in school. So after I say that iStation or Think Through Math are good, I will say when I did iStation at home for a week, my scores increased. Very brief little bit of information that connects it to us. Okay, we're almost done. Last thing to do before we publish is to revise and edit. You're going to look through for adding, removing, moving, and substituting. That's the revising arms. And editing is cups, capitalization, verb usage, punctuation, and spelling. So I just read through. These can be done together. Do it as you find it. So I have purposefully made a couple of mistakes in here so I can show you what it looks like. So you read through, see if there's anything you need to fix. I notice that I've misspelled neat. So I need to fix that, N-E-A-T. Also, I use an ampersand instead of writing the word and. We don't do that in writing, we use the whole word. Neat and tidy so you can find things. You can use color coding to make it easy. Red for reading, blue for math, and so on. Finally, don't forget, don't should have an apostrophe. I'm going to insert an apostrophe there. That successful students keep their desk neat and tidy. I've repeated neat and tidy. I don't want to say the same thing twice. So let me find another way of saying neat and tidy. Finally, don't forget that successful students keep their desks in good order. The book stacked on one side and the binder on the other. This makes it quick to grab what you need. Oh, I forgot a period at the end. Okay, and you will go through the whole thing. I won't do it now. There are other mistakes in here, but you will go through the entire thing, checking punctuation, spelling, grammar, seeing if you've repeated yourself or you need to add or remove something. Once you've done that, final step is to copy this out with all your corrections, not the original, and your golden star included, onto the star writing paper that looks like this. It won't have this stamp right here, but it has a box. You start on the top line, no title. Use every line. There are 26 lines. You can't go beyond it. You cannot write outside of the box. Anything outside of the box will not be graded. So this is where we're going to take everything from our pillar, publish it over here. When it's all there, you need to have at least 3/4 to a whole page. Less than that is not going to be acceptable. Then the very last step is to do a final read through, check that you have not left anything out, check that everything makes sense, and once you've done that, you've completed all the steps here.